Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And before I get started with this video, I just got to say this right now. If you are someone that gets triggered so easily about this, you might probably going to want to click out of this because I'm going full on no hold the gauntlet on this. Because I have been a fan of this series since 2005 when it first came out and first aired on Nickelodeon. Okay? So I don't want to hear this BS from some of you guys that started watching this on Netflix or whatever when this blew up on Netflix. But I know this series. I've watched this series. I've read this series. Hell, I even reviewed the entirety of episode or book 3 and book 4 here on this YouTube channel back in 2012 or 2014, whatever it was. Some of my archived videos back in the day don't hold up in today's continuity of my videos because they weren't that good, but nonetheless they were reviews. So I have been doing this for a while with this thing. I'm gonna say this right now. So I didn't make the announcements that Avatar News like posted or whatever. They're an unofficial source that gets a lot of info about Avatar. And there were a lot of things on my docket, so I couldn't get to it. And not to mention my work schedule and all this other projects I do. So I wasn't able to get a video off of it in time. But I did want to talk about it anyways and give my 2 cents about the whole announcement of the rumors of the movies that are happening. Because I have been talking about it to some people here and there and have made comments about it, and people don't seem to understand. Okay, so claim number 1. First and foremost, I want to just say this right now. Okay, to all you people out there that are trying to say that I'm hating on Korra, fuck off. Okay, I reviewed this series and back in the day when Korra was out. Okay, so some of you Netflix people out there that just started watching the series, okay, I was watching Legends of Korra when you people weren't even viewers of the show or fans of the show. So don't get on me about saying that I don't like Korra. I bought the video game. I freaking watched the entire series when it came out, including when it got canceled by Nickelodeon, and watched it on Nick.com, alright, when it was coming out throughout the whole day. So don't give me this bullshit that I hating on Korra, okay? Because I don't want to deal with idiot fans like you. Alright? That wasn't my argument. Never said anything about hating on Korra or hating on the Korra series. Okay? My argument was, and I'm going to get to this right now. I'm sorry that I'm coming off a little unrest here, but I'm really pissed off at some of the things that were said. Okay? I'm going to get into the simple facts here. Okay? What was the show that blew up on Netflix? Was it Legend of Korra or was it Avatar The Last Airbender? Unless you're under a rock, it was Avatar The Last Airbender. That is the reason why this Avatar Studios and this live-action Avatar Last Airbender series is coming out. Okay, and the live action probably won't do that good. Maybe it will, but I doubt it. There's the controversy about the Sokka actor or whatever, and we, not gonna get into that, but it's been out there about him. And there's other stuff. Obviously, Mike and Brian are not involved, but we've already talked about this. Okay. So, my whole thing is, and this is my stance on the whole thing, okay? Avatar The Last Airbender ended in 2008. Not counting the comics, we're not counting the comics in this thing, because the comics is not media, it's just like, comic book. We're talking about TV shows, movies, what have you, okay? Avatar The Last Airbender hasn't had one since 2008. They canceled season 4. There was supposed to be a season 4, but they decided not to have one, or book 4, but they didn't have one, okay? They ended it at 3. People wanted another Avatar Last Airbender series. They didn't do it. And then they did the movie. The live-action movie failed. And then they decided to do the Korra series, which was supposed to be a mini-series. Then it turned into multiple seasons. What have you. Legend of Korra, I do think, is an underrated series. And it's an underappreciated series. And I've said this back literally years ago when it was airing, because I've been making YouTube videos since 2010. So I was around here on YouTube when Legends of Korra was airing for those 3-4. I think it was 3 years that it was airing. Okay, I literally reviewed the entire book 3 and book 4 when it was out. For all you OG subscribers that remember this, thank you for sticking with me, because those weren't the best videos back then. But nonetheless, I reviewed it, and I gave my 2 cents. Even criticized Nickelodeon for forcing Mike and Brian's hand on making a cliffhanger episode, which led to them, either having to basically fire their employee a week early or have a cliffhanger episode, which they decided to do the cliffhanger episode. So, I've been there. I was there the whole time during this whole run. Some of you Netflix fans that are just getting on the bandwagon right now, you have no idea during this stuff. Okay? Unless you were someone that was watching it like I was from the beginning. But of course, they don't talk about that. So, my stance has been simple. Aang, 2008. Korra ended in 2014. Yes, Nickelodeon screwed it over, but nonetheless, it was canceled on Nickelodeon's television. Okay? Which is a big damper on the series. Okay, as a whole. Because again, not many people knew about Legends of Korra, and a lot of people that did either ditched it, or people just, like me, that actually were real Avatar fans, continued watching it to the end, but casuals didn't do that. Okay? You could tell a lot of the casuals did it for Aang. And then, of course, obviously, when it blew up on Netflix. So, the reason why all this stuff is going on is because of Aang. And hell, even when they made the announcement about Avatar Studios, which I have the original article for, when they originally, back in 2001, announced that they were going to be doing new projects, they even said in the article from Entertainment that they were going to have things built around Aang's story in the world of Avatar. Yet, 2 of the 3 movies that are rumored to be announced that they're working on have literally nothing to do with Avatar Aang. And the Zuko movie, according to a recent announcement rumor that's going on, is that the Zuko movie is not going to be, a retelling of the comic book events of him meeting his mother. The long-awaited thing about Zuko's mother. So, it's probably just going to be a story about Zuko, about being the Fire Lord and what he has to do as a Fire Lord, rather than it be about Aang and their adventures and Team Avatar's adventures. So, again, Aang is in the sidelines yet again. And again, he has been out of commission since 2008. Korra has been around recently. Aang is the reason why this whole thing even exists, okay? It's the reason why Korra even exists, okay? There is no Korra without Avatar Aang, okay? Because that is what made people invest into the series. And yet, Aang, yet again, is in the damn sidelines. For some stupid reason, I have no idea why, but I don't care because I'm gonna freaking put my voice on this. Because I think it's utter bullshit that Aang doesn't get a movie before Korra, okay? Because it's like Korra just had a series back in 2014 when it ended, and the people, majority of the fan base, rather has Avatar Aang come out first, because Team Avatar, original Team Avatar, okay, you know, we want to see what these, you know, whether they're adults, you know, their adult life, because I want to see, like, you know, if you want to make a movie about Aang, like, when he was an adult, you know, I want to see that. I want to see, like, Korra's almost an adult by the time the end of her series anyways. I want to see what Aang does, you know, what he is doing, you know, as an adult. You know, we see a couple flashbacks in Legends of Korra, but that's more of, like, when he's middle-aged. Like, I want to talk, like, later, you know, in his early 20s or whatever. You know, I want to see something like that with Aang. Or even, you know, a couple years after the comic books, maybe. You know, his late teen years. Okay? You know, I want to see something like that. I want to see what goes on. You know, obviously we know Katara and Aang are like a couple, basically, because they do get married. But maybe they explore about their struggles, you know, before they officially kind of get married, you know. Because obviously they don't get married until they're adults, but you get what I'm saying. You know, why not explore something like that? Why not show the viewers what has happened with Team Avatar since 2008? You know, show us this stuff. You know, but no, they do Korra first. Okay, so we're gonna wait. Okay, so it's like almost like it actually is, I think, at 15 years now since there's been an Avatar series. Or Aang Avatar series. But Korra, it's been only, what, like 9 years? Okay? Korra can wait. Aang cannot. We've waited long enough. And I don't know if it's because of the Netflix series why they decided to delay it, to delay an Aang movie. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to go head-to-head with them with Aang. That was one thing I was thinking, but I just don't see why they would want to, because they're not affiliated with the series. But I just think that's just kind of idiotic thinking that people would tune out of an Aang movie over a Netflix series. I don't know. But we're going to have to wait until 2027 potentially for an Aang movie, I think is ludicrous. I think that is goddamn ludicrous. And they get a Korra movie. Again, this is not about hating on Korra as a character, though I do think they kind of rushed stuff at the end there with her. And I wasn't really a big fan of them always, you know, changing the villains every season. I always liked, in the original Aang Avatar series, I liked the idea of there being one main villain. Yeah, I know they changed it up each season, but there was like a main goal at the end, like with Fire Lord Ozai. Everyone knew that Fire Lord Ozai was Aang's ultimate goal. You know, throughout the series, and Legends of Korra, it was like they changed the villains each season, and it was just kind of annoying. I felt like you could have had like an entire arc of like, you know, Ahmad, you know, as like the main villain, but then they killed him off. Even if you wanted to bring someone else in the next season, you could have eventually had him come back later on. You know, kind of like the way they did was even with Zuko, you know, when he was like, you know, kicked out of essentially being a part of, well, having his Fire Nation ship and stuff like that. You know, he was already exiled, but he had a Fire Nation ship and soldiers. He lost all that after season 1, or book 1. So I thought they could have explored something like that with a mod, but they decided to kill him off, you know, which I thought was not really the best idea, but you get the point. There was flaws in Korra, but I thought Korra was overall a good series. There was a couple issues, but again, I think it was more of an issue with Nickelodeon, because Nickelodeon was rushing a lot of stuff and was in a lot of control behind the scenes with Mike and Brian. So I think that was one of the biggest issues, especially since it was originally supposed to be 1 or 2 seasons, and that was it. And then they were forced to make it longer because they asked for more seasons. Nickelodeon asked for more seasons, and then they had buyer's remorse, I guess, and then didn't care about it by season 3. So it is what it is. But we can't change that at this point. It is what it is, you know. But that's my whole stance on this. I don't think Korra should have a movie before Aang. You know, and I'll have my stance on this. I don't care what people say, and I don't know if this is going to be received good or not, but that's my stand. I tell it like it is, and hold no punches. But I just hated this idea that some of these people were coming at me saying that I'm hating on Korra just because I said Aang is better than Korra. I never said that I hated Korra. Okay? Never used that, but a lot of people put that into my mouth, even though I actually was probably one of the more positive people at the time that was reviewing Legends of Korra when Korra came out as a series, that actually praised it for a lot of things, when a lot of people were shitting on it, okay, at the time. I was one of the fewest YouTubers that was actually giving it, you know, good, good viewings of it. You know, obviously, you know, I didn't give it a perfect 10 or whatever, but I was more, you know, moderate on it compared to some of the other people that were reviewing it at the time. You know, so, because I remember watching a lot of the peoples that were reviewing Legends of Korra on YouTube, and there were a lot of people that were hating on Korra at the time, and I was just so dumbfounded by it because I didn't think it was as bad as people made it out to be when it came out. But again, if you're gonna tell me that Korra deserves a movie before Aang, that's just, no, it's not. It's no contest. Avatar The Last Airbender is a more popular series than Korra is. You know, Avatar The Last Airbender blew up on Netflix, not Legends of Korra. Alright? That's what led to Avatar Studios. That's what led to Avatar Studios. Okay? And yet, it's getting disrespected like this. And I think that's insane. Now, I know I've been talking a lot about this whole Korra issue on this video, and I really haven't addressed the 2 other movies that are coming out on Paramount Pictures and movie theater. I think they're going to come out actually in the movie theaters first, which is actually surprising. That is kind of a risky move, by the way. You know, it's going to be a very tough thing if it gets a full movie release. That's going to be a really tough thing because obviously with movie theaters, we don't know where any of the movie theaters are going to be in the next couple of years, especially post-pandemic. But I think it's just going to be a hard market for it. You know, and you know, if the first movie doesn't make enough money, you know, they might have to rethink and might just put everything exclusively on streaming service for Paramount. But that's going to be something that we cross the bridge when it comes out. But okay, so I know we've been going on Korra a lot, like I said, but let's talk about the other movies. So the first movie that's reportedly going to come out in 2024 is the Kyoshi movie. And I like this. I like that they're doing a Kyoshi movie. I still think Aang should have been the first movie they did because of him, and people knew him, and he's popular, and Team Avatar is really the bridge of the franchise. That's where you put your movie out first, especially if it's going in the movie theaters. I didn't even talk about this thing. You know, these are the characters people remember. These are the more popular characters. This is where you place all your bets on, especially because if the first movie doesn't make enough money in the movie theaters, that's the end of it. It's not going to. They're not going to put another one in the movie theaters. It would be too risky, and they would have to shift their. Shift their plans, and make it exclusive to Paramount Plus. So you run the risk of that as well. That's another factor to why you would want to have an Aang movie first. And I didn't even get into that fact. But you're going to run that risk. Legends of Korra, or not Legends of Korra, Kyoshi is a bold move. It is a bold move because a lot of people love Avatar Kyoshi, including myself. I thought Avatar Kyoshi, from the few things we knew about her throughout the series in Avatar The Last Airbender, was very good. And I thought it was a very unique thing to make this the first movie. Because not many people really know that much about Kyoshi. But at the same time, a lot of people are intrigued by Kyoshi as an avatar, and they want to see more about her. Because I remember, you know, a lot of people, especially in my younger years when I was watching this, when I was like 13 or 12 when it came out. You know, long time ago, guys, you know, long time ago, you know, that a lot of people would have loved to seen a spin-off series of Kyoshi. And I remember even when Legends of Korra was being made, that a lot of people would have rather have seen a prequel of Kyoshi for a spin-off series instead. So it is a bold move, and I think it's a good move. I wouldn't have made it the first movie, because again, I would still have Aang be the first movie. But again, looks like we're going to be waiting until 2027, which is a terrible move, by the way, for the reasons why I listed already. But again, I do like the move of a Kyoshi movie. As for the Zuko movie in 2025, I like the Zuko movie idea, but they already said that it's not going to involve a retelling of the comic books, which I thought they should do, because I would, even though we read the comic book events of what happens to Zuko as, you know, discovering who his mother was, or where his mother was, I should say, or what happened to her, which, by the way, I also reviewed the comic books too. The majority of all the big, you know, library edition comic books. So I'm pretty sure those are up still too. I know my reviews aren't up. They're privated right now, but I privated a lot of my old videos. But I'm pretty sure my comic book stuff is still up. My comic book reviews of The Search is still up. So they already said that they're not involving that as their plot. So that I still would have liked to see them retell the comic book series. Like, I would have liked it to be the same. Maybe they add some stuff to it, but obviously the same in the comic book form into a movie or TV spin-off or whatever. I would have liked to seen that in some type of capacity, because I would like to actually visually see it, you know, rather than just, you know, read it. I mean, obviously we read it already, but I would have loved to, like, just see it and hear the voice and whatnot. But we're not apparently getting that in the movie. Apparently this is after those events. Um, so again, I think, like I said earlier, I think the Zuko movie is going to be centered around more about Zuko and less about Aang. I doubt Aang's Team Avatar is even in the movie, because I think it's going to just focus on him as a Fire Lord. Maybe get back with Mai or May. Um, or Ma. Why am I goofing that up? I think it's gonna be him getting back with her because they, in the comic books, they basically broke up and they said they wouldn't get back together, but we all know that's crap because based on the evidence in Legends of Korra, I'm almost certain that Zuko and May get back together. So Mai get back together. So I believe that will be kind of the focus in this. And the movie that we shouldn't be getting before the Aang movie, the Legends of Korra movie. No idea what it is. I'm sure it will be right after the series ended or whatever. Because I don't know where else. Because it looks like, because Korra was already an adult by the end of the series, so there isn't that much they can do. She kind of looks in this picture like it's going to be her just, right after the series ended or whatever. So hardly could think of what else they could come up with, since they pretty much did everything throughout the series in exploring different villains and whatnot, which again is another reason why we don't need a Korra movie right now, because they did explore everything of her throughout all the villains that she could possibly come up with. So at this point, Korra would just be going up against another villain that they just randomly created rather than go up against a villain that's already there. Which is, normally would be good for a movie, but since Korra's series every season had a new main villain, it just kind of makes it redundant because they're just copying the same formula rather than have, a set thing. With Aang as a movie, it would make more sense because Aang never really had, anyone else as the main villain except for Ozai. Even though Ozai didn't appear until book 3, we all knew the Fire Lord was the villain. Even though we didn't know we knew who he was, but we didn't know what he looked like. But we knew who he was. We knew the target. We knew who Aang had to defeat. Korra, it's like she has a different villain each season. So that doesn't make it very special for a movie. Another problem. So, I don't know. I'm worried because I don't think, again, not even the fact that the movies will probably be good, but the fact of the matter is, the way the financial thing is for movies and ticket prices, it's going to be very steep competition to put it in the theaters. Especially if you're not gonna have the characters that actually people want to see, the majority of the audience wants to see. Kyoshi might work because, again, she is a popular character. She's a very popular character, but again, it still runs the risk because she is a bit unknown. So it's gonna be hard. One of these movies doesn't do well, it pretty much changes all their plans on how they do these movies or series and whatnot going forward, and just make them exclusive to Paramount Plus. But based on what we're hearing, they really want this to be in the movie theaters first. So they really want this to go Hollywood. And that's going to be tough when you got a lot of major studios and competitions. You got all these $1 billion going into this stuff. You know, and God knows what they're going to do for the promotion, the promotional stuff, because that's also more money that they're going to have to put in. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for that to work. All right. I mean, when you look at, you know, things like comparing stuff like with, you know, movies that go in like that, animated movies. And yes, I know, you know, with the anime stuff, but that, again, most of the anime stuff is, you know, is a limited theater release. I know Demon Slayer actually got it, but I think that was more of because of COVID restrictions, and that's kind of what led to that, because there weren't that many movies out when Demon Slayer came into the theaters at the time. So that might have been a lot of the reason why it did well as getting a lot of theater screenings. You know, if this is a Fathom event type deal, limited theater, it might be successful. But if we're talking a regular theater release, that's going to be a very difficult sell for, you know, non-Avatar fans that are trying to get drawn into this, or casual Avatar fans. That's going to be a very hard thing to overcome. And I'm just being realistic. I hope it does well. I hope the Kyoshi movie does well, because out of all these movies that they're doing right now, the only one that really interests me out of them all is the Kyoshi movie. And that's the first one that's coming out. I'm being serious. Because it's like with Zuko, we kind of already know a lot of stuff with the comic books. And I feel like the Zuko movie is just going to be more about Zuko and, you know, Fire Lord stuff and whatnot. You know, maybe getting back with Mai, you know, which everyone wants to happen or see that on screen. You know, it's like, whatever. You know, the Kyoshi movie interests me. That's the movie that I'm more interested in seeing out of all these ones. You know, that's the one that I'm drawn to, because I like Kyoshi as a character from the little things that we know about Kyoshi. I'm very intrigued by it. I'm very intrigued to see what she is about. And, you know, maybe they explore the stuff of Chin the Conqueror, you know, because obviously that was a big plot point in the Avatar series, you know, about, you know, her dividing up the island or whatever. You know, maybe they talk about that. Maybe they kind of explore that more, you know, and what led to that. Or maybe they just talk about her life, you know, and make it an origin story. But if you do that, I would want to see more. I would like to see an actual series then, if they're going to do that. So, I mean, there's just so many things that they can do with the Korra, with the freaking Kyoshi movie. But yeah, I've been going on for a little bit on this. For this rant, but try to end it off on a positive note with Kyoshi, you know, but you know, potentially having to wait till 2027, which will probably be like 19 years by that point for an Aang movie, for a new Aang media. It's just insane. It's such a disappointment, and I'm really pissed about it. Really pissed off about it. You have no idea. Nothing can do it justice. But I wanted to end that note and clear up this bullshit that people getting on me. It really pissed me off. So I know we kind of started this video off very, 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 very distraught. But I had to explore this because that's just me. That's how I get this stuff out. And I want, you know, when I get called out like that, oh boy, I'm boiling. I'm boiling about it, you know. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. If you like this video or my other videos, please subscribe. Hit the bell for all the latest contents. And comment, rate, all that good stuff. I'm out of here. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku, Moderate. Peace.